The shift begins. Daniel was tired, not the kind of tired sleep could fix, but a deep soul fatigue. He had done everything right, worked hard, saved, followed every logical rule they taught him growing up, and yet his bank account barely held up. Another overdraft notice pinged his phone while he stood in the grocery store line, holding a cart filled with what he thought was just the basics. The cashier smiled. "That'll be $42.67. Daniel hesitated. Should he put something back? A familiar wave of anxiety hit his chest, the silent question echoing, "Will there ever be enough?" That night, he sat on his small apartment floor, surrounded by unopened bills and unopened dreams. His eyes landed on a sticky note he'd scribbled on months ago. "Money is energy. Shift your frequency." He had heard the phrase in a late-night podcast, but dismissed it back then. Now, with nothing left to lose, he whispered the words aloud. Not like a mantra, more like a question. Is that really true? A strange thing happened. As soon as he said it, something inside him softened. Not in a lazy way, but in a real way. Like his body had been carrying a truth his mind hadn't caught up with yet. The next morning, he didn't grab his phone. He didn't check the bills. Instead, he did something radical. He stood in silence. He breathed like someone who already had enough. He imagined, not wished, but felt what it would be like to live without fear of money. Not extravagance, just peace. He pictured paying the rent early, buying groceries with joy, helping his sister without flinching. And for the first time in years, his nervous system began to relax. He didn't call it manifestation. He didn't chant affirmations. He just practiced one thing, acting like someone whose energy was already safe to receive. By the third day, he noticed something subtle. A co-worker who barely spoke to him offered to cover his lunch. The next day, a client from his freelance gig messaged him out of nowhere, offering double pay for a rush job. Coincidence? Maybe, but it felt different. What changed wasn't his luck, it was his signal. Daniel had stopped radiating "I need." He started radiating "I'm ready." Money didn't feel like a prize anymore. It felt like oxygen, flowing, responsive, energetic. He wasn't working harder. He was becoming lighter, unwinding years of inherited scarcity, peeling off layers of guilt that said wanting more made him selfish. He stopped apologizing for his worth and started embodying it. That's when the truth hit. Money doesn't follow effort. It follows energy, and energy follows belief. The first time Daniel allowed himself to believe that, not just intellectually but viscerally, was the first time. Money didn't feel like a chase. It felt like a dance. And the music had just started. The frequency lock. Daniel thought the first shift was everything. He was wrong. Yes, opportunities came faster now. Unexpected checks, kind strangers, a new freelance client who said, "I don't know why, but I trust you." But after that first wave of ease, he hit something deeper, a wall not outside him, but within. It showed up when a client ghosted him after he raised his rates. It showed up when he made more money in a week than he used to in a month, then felt panic instead of peace. It showed up when his bank balance grew, and he still felt like the scared boy who used to hide school lunch forms because he didn't want his parents to feel embarrassed about not having enough. That's when he realized, getting money is one game, holding it is another. It wasn't about wealth anymore. It was about identity. Daniel's nervous system had never learned what it meant to feel safe while thriving. Survival. Sure, he knew how to budget down to the penny, how to delay joy, how to feel guilty every time he spent. But abundance? That felt unsafe, foreign, fragile. So he did something even more radical than dreaming. He sat in silence, again. But this time, he asked one question. What part of me still believes I'm not allowed to rise? What came up shocked him. It wasn't about money at all. It was his father, always saying, "Don't ask for too much." It was his mother whispering, "Just be grateful we have something." It was his teacher who laughed when Daniel said he wanted to be wealthy and make movies one day. And suddenly, he saw it. Money wasn't blocked. His permission to receive it was. So Daniel began the real work. He wrote letters he'd never send to the parts of his past that taught him scarcity. He forgave himself for every time he played small just to fit in. He started a simple ritual. Before spending money, he'd whisper, "I'm not losing this. I'm circulating it." And things did change. Not just outside but in his posture, his voice, his presence. He no longer walked like someone hoping for abundance. He walked like someone already aligned with it. His environment changed, too. People treated him differently. Some left, confused by his calm power. Others showed up, magnetized by something they couldn't name. And when he looked at his bank balance again, it wasn't just the number that had changed. It was how he felt looking at it. No fear, no shame, no attachment, just knowing. Money is not my master. I am the frequency it responds to. And that was the lock. Not effort, not hustle, just energetic integrity. Knowing that money isn't the prize, it's the reflection. Daniel didn't become wealthy overnight. He became something more powerful. A man who could hold abundance without needing to prove he was worthy of it. And once he became that man, money flowed and never stopped.